Hello, good afternoon. So as Simon said, I will share a project that we've been running for the last 2 years, focusing on getting new companies and growing our business. So in the next half hour, I'll give you a short introduction, then I'll tell you a little bit about the project, how we've been developing this new tool and these processes. I'll share some results of the implementation. As Simon said, we're running this project on a global level, and the benefits and next steps. So first, Tnt Express. We're a global express operator, active in, we were able to send a package with TNT to almost 200 countries worldwide. We have offices in 60 countries, 70,000 employees, delivering over 1 million parcels per day. Sorry. So myself, I work in the global marketing team in Amsterdam, where the head office is of Tnt Express. And myself are responsible for everything related to marketing analytics databases. And I worked as a business development manager for the last 2 years, and before that 6 years in other roles within TNT. Our marketing organization is split into 3 clusters. One cluster is focusing on the content, so the messages that we share with our customers, our potential customers. Then the campaign management, developing global campaigns, and the last segment is the area where I'm responsible for. So it's focusing on suspect management, trying to find new companies that are not on our radar yet, data quality processes, predictive analytics, so using all the information that we have in a more advanced way, and campaign optimization. So this project is part of a bigger project. It's the re-engineering. So a couple of years ago we started with this project where TNT as an organization tried to develop common systems and processes. So historically we grew the company by buying different local players, expanding our business, and these local players had their own systems and processes, and therefore it was kind of a complex situation. But a couple of years they decided to develop all kind of common systems. Now within the area of marketing, first of all we built our own customer database. So at the time we didn't have there was not a solution that catered for all our needs, so we decided to build it in-house. The same for our sales system. We have an external campaign management system, and the last one which we started to look at was 2.5 years ago is regarding suspect management. So again, it's have an external view and trying to grow our business by finding new companies that are not on our radar yet. At that time we decided to work with Dun & Bradstreet, first of all because we already had a lot of experience working with Dun & Bradstreet, different projects and different contracts. A lot of our countries were working with Dun & Bradstreet, and also because of the solution that they offered. So the main challenge at the time was that we already had these global databases, and we were capturing more and more information, but we were not using it to the full extent. So we knew a lot about our own companies, our customers, and there was a high need for analyzing the information, but we were not that successful in using the information that we already have, and instead of even looking at external information, we were really internal focused. So our challenge was to be more efficient and also more effective using the information that we have and that we could get from the external organization, and use the information to drive our sales force. So we defined a number of objectives. So first we made a global strategy. So every country was doing their own thing. Some were quite advanced, but there was not a overall concept for the whole company to focus on database marketing. So we sit down with the main stakeholders, the key experts, and we defined our strategy. And also we tried to make global processes. So instead of having every country doing their own thing, we tried to make one global blueprint and explain within TNT how we operate these processes, how we run these processes. Now in the area of suspect management, the first objective was to continuously fuel the organization in identifying the right market opportunities. So as I said, we were quite internally focused. But now we have a continuous process where our countries are analyzing the market, trying to find if there are any opportunities, and using that information, which is then the next objective, to make it more concrete by looking at which companies are behind those opportunities and make the output really actionable. So we do the high-level analysis and then we use the results, and those results go directly to our sales force, provide the right leads to sales. Another objective is high data quality. I think every organization has the same issue, having the best data in your database. So combining this suspect management, having this external perspective, we also introduced global processes to make sure that we always we try to get the best data into our own systems. Now, using the information, we then use the information to run advanced analytics, or advanced analytic programs where we use the information to develop some algorithms and calculate scores that then help in optimizing our campaigns or telling the sales force which companies they need to talk to and in what order and when and what kind of message. And the last one is then the optimization of the campaigns. So for suspect management, number 3 to 6 are the relevant ones. So how does this work? So as I said, we decided to work with Dun & Bradstreet, and they offer a global solution, which they call they have a global universe containing over 200 million companies in 190 countries. And we make use of their market insight solution, which helps us to link our customer database directly to the universe of Dun & Bradstreet. And that way we can combine our own information with the external information. And Dun & Bradstreet is one of the only companies that is able to offer this truly global solution. So as I said, we have a lot of different countries in Asia, in South America, and DNB is the company that can offer us a solution that we can roll out on a global level. And their database is updated continuously, so it's quite up to date, and it's also relational, and that's very useful for us because we can have a lot of customers in Europe that have branches in South America or in Asia, but we're not always aware of these relationships. Now, by using the external perspective, we are able to identify those opportunities and make use of the existing relationships in one country and use it in another one. So the process that we use to identify new opportunities is first to first link the two databases and then enrich our own customer database. So it's not only existing customers, but it's also all the prospects that we already know or lapsed customers that we already have in our database. And then by enriching our own database, we start first with profiling our existing traders. So we try to learn more about our own customers. Of course, we have a lot of information ourselves, but we combine it with the external information, and we build these profiles. And also we look at industry sectors, or not only industry sectors, but segments where there might be a lot of opportunities. So besides industries where we have a strong position, there might be some industry sectors where we're not that strong. There's a lot of potential. And then after identifying these opportunities, we look at the companies that are in those sectors, and we make it really concrete, and we provide those leads to sales. They start contacting these companies, and they try to identify whether there indeed is a need. And only once we are sure that there is potential, then we include them in our regular campaign processes and sales processes. So we do this step by step, and it's a cooperation between marketing and sales. So marketing is involved in the first part, and then sales get involved. So only once we're sure that there's a lot of potential, then we start spending more money on those companies when we're sure that there is some potential. Now, this is a really high-level overview of such analysis. So as you can see on the left side, the first start is to look at the overall universe of a country and then look at our penetration. Now this could be the UK. So even in the UK, where we are one of the main players and have a high penetration and market share, if you compare our universe or our database to the DNB database, then we still have only a penetration of about 10%. And one of the reasons, of course, that they have all the all the information in the database, so also including restaurants and undertakers and all kind of companies that are not as relevant. So the first challenge is really to narrow it down to the portion of companies that are relevant to TNT. So we do that through going through a number of steps, looking at some filters, and in the end we calculate the propensity to trade. So we have some models trying to assess which of those companies are likely to start buying our products. And the solution of DNB enables us to do a lot of these analytics in their system. So without having to get all the information in our own system, we can already do quite a lot of advanced analytics before we actually start pulling those companies into our own system and giving them to sales. Now, when we started this project with some targets, and actually when we did the first stats, we were far more successful than we were expecting. So, especially this process of narrowing down a big database to a significant portion, yeah, it really does pay off. So, combining our internal information with the external information, and then trying to find those companies that are attractive to our company, yeah, in the end, it really worked. And even the markets, mature markets as the UK, where we have an enormous sales force and have a presence for a lot of years, we're still able to find a lot of companies that actually were not on our radar yet. So even though salespeople have been going from door to door for years, there are still a lot of companies that we actually have never talked to or have sent them a mailer or anything. So that's the model. Now we started with this about 2 years ago. And the first thing that we've done is made a model of governance, where at the head office we did the initial development, and then we selected a couple of users that had the skills and the knowledge to become an expert user. So we have 60 countries, but in some countries we are rather small. There is only a couple of people in the marketing organization. So we focus on the big countries where there are people that start to use the system, do the tests, run the pilots, and they are the expert users. And then the other countries, we have, let's say, the normal users, and they just follow the processes that's being developed. So you don't need all kind of expert users, but once you know how to run these processes, then it's quite easy, and you don't need the high level of expertise to be able to run a project like this. So as I said, we started March last year. The first months we spent working on system development. Our own systems are quite complex, and integrating that with an external system took some time. Probably it has more to do with our own complexity than with the system of DNB. But after a couple of months we were ready to do the first pilots. So we've been running a couple of pilots in different regions in the second half of last year. And once we saw that there were some good results, comparing countries in Europe to Asia, for example, and although the market situation is quite different, the results were quite similar. So then we decided to do a full implementation. So as of this year, we do as many implementations as possible. Up to now, there are 35 countries using the solution. And the tool is just one small piece of a bigger project with all the processes. But our goal is to have every TNT operating unit live before the end of the year. So there are still about 27 countries to go. But that's the current status. So what are the benefits? Well, first of all, we're way more efficient because we have one system, we have one set of processes, and we can automate a lot of things. So instead of having our local organizations working with Excel files, doing a lot of things offline, giving some files to our sales force, we are not able to measure anything. We now have one system, it's all automated, and we, from a global perspective, can measure everything that's happening. So we can even see if some of these processes are, the results are declining, then we can take a look and see what is happening and make some adjustments. It's also standardized, so within marketing and sales it's not totally clear who needs to do what are the processes, what are the steps, and it's also strictly embedded into our organization. So it's not ad hoc, that some countries think, well, we need more leads, so they try to develop anything, but now it's a continuous process, and as I said, embedded into the organization. This is the standardizing. In the end, what's even more important, that we have new insights. So we have new information, we have new ways of looking at internal and external information, and that therefore we're quite successful in growing the business, because we're able to use those different sources and get the most out of it. I'm not saying that it's perfect, because there's still a lot of things that we can improve, but even with some simple steps we're already able to get some good results. And therefore we're now much more targeted, so our salespeople are talking to the right people with the right message, and spending less time going door from door looking at the yellow pages and wasting their time looking for a company that has no potential, and they spend more time talking to companies that do have some potential. So we have, in the end, we're more effective, we have hot leads, and we try to spend as much time and money on those companies, getting in the end new business. So the conclusions. So by having this solution, we now have a global framework, global processes. One of the key things is that we need the cooperation of both marketing and sales. So instead of having the marketing organization do all kind of high-level analysis, but not making it concrete for the sales force, in the end that doesn't work. So we try to involve both. And another important element is the training. So since we have some expert users, we can develop all the best practices and share those with our organization. Now, data quality is also a main element that didn't really include it into the presentation, but besides looking at all the companies that we don't know, it's also really important to improve the data quality on the companies that we do know. Sometimes we have companies that are trading with TNT for years, but if we look into our own systems and all the information is incorrect, especially the firmographics, let's say the information that we have about these companies. And that has an impact on all the models that we run. So data quality is quite important. At the end, by running these processes, we're now more effective and efficient. And so it does pay off. Now what's next? As I said, this year the focus is on global implementation, but there's still a lot that we can do. So if you look into campaign optimization, all the information that's available, we're now looking into some other algorithms to drive our campaign management system, optimizing our campaigns. So we're just at the starting point, and there's still a lot of things that we can do with this combination of our internal and external information. So that's our story. I don't know if there are any questions.